best-selling hybrid car has just entered its fourth generation in the shape of this very striking 2016 Toyota Prius. Now, we've probably all heard of the Prius. It's a car famous for being really green and being driven by lots of Hollywood types keen to make a statement about how environmentally friendly they are. But before I go any further, I'm going to go back a little bit and ask the question, just in case anyone out there was too afraid to, what exactly is a hybrid and what's the big deal? Because studies have shown that there is still a bit of confusion out there about what exactly owning a hybrid car entails. Do they need to be charged? Can they run out of power? Are they expensive to maintain? And the answer to all of that is no, and living with a hybrid is really no different to living with a normal car. There's no wires, no solar panels, just lower running costs and less harmful CO2 polluting the atmosphere. It's powered by a 1.8 litre petrol engine, alongside a separate electric motor that recharges as you drive. And that's what powers the car at lower speeds and in and around town. Then as you accelerate and reach higher speeds, the petrol engine kicks in. So it saves power by not wasting fuel for stop-start city driving. Nearly all hybrids are automatic, and this one is fitted with an ECVT gearbox. And it feels just like driving any other normal automatic car, except for a quieter start-up and take-off, and until you get up to cruising speed really, and even then it still stays pretty quiet in the cabin, with no intrusive engine noise and good insulation from the outside. So it's a very relaxing ride, and for some people that's what they like best about hybrids, because they feel so smooth and refined on the road, and there is something very pleasant about that quieter cabin. The engine and motor combined produce about 120 HP, so it does feel reasonably powerful too, but the big draw is of course the running costs. The old model could offer 74 mpg, which most modern diesels have very nearly caught up with by now, but this new model can offer a potential of an astonishing 94 miles to the gallon. Now, it will of course depend on how you drive it, how much stop-start city driving you do versus how much you use the petrol engine, but for the right type of driver, the Prius is a very hard car to beat in this field. It also emits just 70 grams of CO2 a kilometre, which you would think should make it nearly free to tax, but this is Ireland, so we will still have to pay an only slightly lower rate than a normal car of €170 a year. The other big news then is the makeover, and for a manufacturer known for generally playing it safe, it really is a surprisingly brave and daring design, with angles and lines that now make a real statement with or without that trendy Prius badge. It's not your typical car, so it's not your typical interior either, and it's pretty out there in the cabin too. The speedometer/instrument cluster stretches right the way across the dash rather than behind the steering wheel, with some very funky graphics that show how the semi-electric powertrain works and which mode of power you're using as you drive. That sits just above a second screen for the entertainment, and some glossy white trim along the centre adds to that futuristic sort of feel. Size-wise, it sits between the Corolla and the Avensis and certainly feels very spacious, with some practical storage areas around the cabin, and all Cars Ireland tests pass with flying colours. One criticism the last model had was a lack of space in the boot, and at 445 litres it was the one minor chink in its armour, especially for the likes of taxi drivers who need a good amount of space. So that has been addressed, and it's grown by more than 50 litres this time around. And that's down to the fact that the battery pack has now been shifted to under the rear seats, which in turn has impacted slightly on rear headroom, but should only really be an issue for particularly tall backseat passengers. The smaller ones who more commonly sit back there will be fine, with Isofix anchors for child seats, plenty of legroom and quite a wide rear bench. Other safety features that come as standard include lane departure warning, road sign recognition and adaptive cruise control. It also scored the full 5 stars on the NCAP safety test. There's a choice of 2 trims available in Ireland, the standard Prius and the luxury spec. The normal Prius does come exceptionally well equipped though, with alloy wheels, dual zone climate control and the Toyota Touch 2 multimedia system as standard. And it represents good value for money too, considering it starts at under €31,500. In fact, it hardly seems necessary to pay the extra €2,000 to get into the luxury spec. Although it does come with some nice but not vital features like heated seats, a head-up display on the windscreen, blind spot monitoring and a wireless phone charger. As for maintenance, it requires no more servicing than a normal car, and it's no more expensive either. In terms of reliability then, despite the hybrid technology being relatively new, there have been few reports of any issues so far, and Toyota are backing that up with a 5-year, 100,000 kilometre warranty on all the hybrid components. So while it's by no means the only green choice on the market anymore, with a larger selection of hybrids available than ever before, some a lot more subtle to look at than this one too, the Prius will remain the standout choice as the original tried and tested model that's been improved just enough again to keep it one green footstep ahead of the crowd. The Prius is available for test drive at your local Toyota dealer. You can find out where they are over on our site, where you can also browse a huge range of new and used models from the largest selection of dealers in the country. I'm Sinead McCann for carsireland.ie.